Hi, and welcome to Creating Life You Love with Adriana, where we talk about how to create healthy lifestyles centered on the Lord. We talk about all things relationships, mental health, how to have a foundation on Christ, whether you're single, in a relationship, going through a breakup, married, whatever it is. I also talk a lot about things that are just relatable to your everyday life, whether that's getting angry, how to forgive someone, how to have hard conversations, conflict resolution, all the things. Today, I kind of just wanted to chat about what I've been noticing lately around this whole theme of Christmas. So, I'm recording this on December 7th. So, we're kind of like getting into the Christmas spirit, if that's what, they call it. And I've never really had like this joy for the Christmas time. I've never been one of those people that like absolutely just can't wait for the winter. I think when I was younger, there's that sense of like joy. Maybe you believed in Santa as a kid. That's something that I did. So there was that sense of like just wonder and like excitement around that. But as I started to get older, I just never really had this like major excitement for Christmas. And I always seem to be going through something during the holiday season. 2 years ago, I was going through a breakup. The year before that, I was going through something. And so it just feels like every year, anytime Christmas has come, I've been expected to be joyful and be happy because, like, that's what I'm seeing on my Instagram. That's what I'm seeing all over social media. And today, I guess I just wanted to speak to those of us who struggle to feel joy on Christmas and then perhaps even give in to what people say you need to do in order to have like the best Christmas, the best holiday season, right? And so maybe it's just me coming from Florida and saying, like, I don't really get the Christmas spirit because it doesn't snow here. It never really feels like Christmas. But I genuinely just think from a young age, if I can take myself back, I struggled to be happy. I struggled to find joy. And I think it is true. So when it comes to joy, genetics do impact like your baseline happiness. Like that can play a factor. But it also is true that your brain is constantly changing and constantly growing. And apparently, if you are constantly thinking negative thoughts, you are going to rewire your brain to just be a negative person. And so I think back and I honestly think that's what I've done to my brain. I've kind of shifted it to be this negative person naturally. But I guess my goal is just to speak to those of you guys who kind of feel like you are annoyed because you can't get into the holiday spirit. And then when I took a poll on my Instagram, I asked you guys, if anyone's feeling stressed or if you guys are like great and you're feeling happy and excited for this season. And most of you guys said you were stressed. I think the biggest factor that I would say contributes to stress during the season is overconsumption. And I feel like social media has definitely ramped that up. I mean, Christmas was never about gifts. It was about, well, like, celebrating Jesus and his birth and him coming into this world. Now, of course, there's some different, like, thought of whether Jesus was actually born December, and I don't know where I stand on that. I'm not gonna, like, be dogmatic about it and say, like, he was definitely born in, the summer or in December. But I think regardless, like, it's just a time that we can refocus our minds onto the birth of Jesus. And obviously we should be thinking about him like all throughout our days, but I think it's just a good reminder. But overconsumption has taken over that reminder and shifted it into this horrible thing that now, anytime I open up social media, I am seeing so much stuff that people are pushing on the holiday season. Now, it also can be helpful because if there's something you really want and it's on sale, that's great. Like I never pay full price for stuff. Whenever I go in a store and I look at the prices, I'm like, are you serious? Like how are we getting to I don't know, $100 for this little shirt. Are we serious here? So I always wait till stuff goes on sale. So I'm someone who happens to love Black Friday for that very reason. Now, let me just tell you, when Black Friday did come, I did share on my story different sales that I would buy if I were you, and I did buy things like organic cotton sports bras because I wanted to kind of shift away from like not such great material like plastics in my activewear. I posted on my story like this non-toxic candle, this like non-toxic makeup, things like that. Just things that I would find useful. And I wanted to give a disclaimer because I feel like, yes, there are brands that I'm going to show that I like, and that if you're looking for something and find if you're looking for something and then I'm able to show you something that is helpful to you, you're looking for a face wash and I'm able to say, "Oh, this one I like," and then you get it, that's great. But what I don't agree with is this idea of like pushing very unnecessary things and almost like saying you can't live without this thing. Like I just got these fuzzy slippers and I think they're amazing, but am I saying that you can't live without it? No. You could totally live without it. Now, when I wake up every morning, I'm really excited to put on my fuzzy slippers. Yes, that is correct. But I could live without it. And so it's this idea that's framed on social media of like, this stuff will make your life better. And it's almost like so much consumption where it's not just like, a recommendation on a product here and there, but it's like every day. And it's not just one thing, it's like multiple things. And when I was, looking at different ideas to decorate for Christmas, I just thought about how much money goes into decorating for Christmas and then you strip it all down. Now, if someone finds so much joy from that and they love it and they're still being responsible with their finances and not going into debt over it, that's great. But I just think that there's so much of a focus on consuming that we actually forget the point of Christmas. And so Christmas comes around and we're stressed and we're running and buying stuff for people and we're trying to find the perfect gift. And then we're trying to make a list of what we want for ourselves because maybe it's the only time of year we actually allow ourselves to buy anything, or maybe not. um, that we actually forget to just enjoy this season and forget to focus ourselves on the whole reason for Christmas. Regardless if you think that this originated from a pagan holiday or if you think it was never about Jesus, that's fine. But the point is, we have the ability to now make it into something that can help us to focus our minds on Jesus. I do think people can be more generous in the Christmas season because they're reminded of, oh, I want to give gifts to these people. But it's also true that people can be reminded of how much stuff they don't have and how much stuff they want. So, I guess my whole point in saying all of that is we are a over-consuming society, and I really think that we need to put, like, certain boundaries in place so we don't get to that point. Now, I talked about in my last, podcast episode how I'm someone who I wouldn't describe myself as minimalistic, but I definitely have just what I need, and I don't need anything else. Like, yes, there's stuff that I see on social media that I want, and I'm like, "Wow, that would be so cute." Like drawer organizers, for instance. I got like a set of them, like these clear plastic ones, but now I'm like, "Oh, I really want like these wooden ones. Like they'd be so pretty." And here's something that I've been noticing. I've set this boundary for myself. If I have something and it works just fine, I'm not going to go repurchase another thing. If I have something already, I don't want to repurchase the same thing, even if I think it's better. I got these bowls, and when I first got married, like these bowls that you eat out of, soup bowls. And then I saw these other ones on social media, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. Am I going to switch it up and buy a whole nother set of bowls when I already have some? No, I'm not. I'm going to let them serve their purpose because I feel like that is why there's so much waste in the world. Now, when it comes to some new sports bras that I just got to work out in, I had a bunch already, but they were getting too tight on me. They were also, like I said, made with not really great materials, very cheaply made. And I was getting very itchy in them. It was bothering my skin. So in that place, I would say, okay, Black Friday, they're having a sale. I'm going to go ahead and buy these sports bras. So I spent maybe $150 on, no, I spent $100 on 4 sports bras because there was a sale, which I think is pretty good for cotton sports bras, organic cotton that's going to last you, that are actually comfortable. It came out to $25 a piece. So I would say that's good. If I already have the thing, I don't need to go repurchase another thing that, in my mind, may be better, may look more aesthetic, but I don't need it. Okay. I have this little jewelry holder in my bathroom and I don't really love it. Okay. But I got it for Christmas a few years ago. And you know what? I don't need to repurchase another one. Maybe when we move and when we redecorate and redo our bathroom, sure. But for now, you know what? I'm fine. I can hang up my jewelry on this little jewelry hanger. It's not horribly ugly. I just kind of wanted to switch out the look, but I don't need to, right? And so I would say while everyone is posting their gonna start posting their Christmas hauls and everything they got and everything they, said that you should buy, think about, "Do I really need this? Is this something that I really need?" Another thing is to give yourself a certain amount of time to wait for the product to see if you actually really need it. So for me, I really wanted sandals that I could wear with jeans, dresses, shorts, like just a versatile sandal, right? Okay. I tried to make do with what shoes I had. And then I started looking for sandals because I was like, you know what? This would be something that's really useful in my life. I found a pair of sandals. They were like $90. I didn't really want to spend that much. I'm like, I want to spend like $50. Don't really want to spend $90. But I also knew that I wanted something comfortable and that would last. I didn't want to just have to get rid of them in like a few months because they were dilapidated, you know? I wanted something that I could truly wear like every day. And so I saw the $90 sandals. I tried them on. I was like, okay, I'm going to think about this. And I thought about it for probably like a month. And then I decided to buy them and I love the sandals. But this works so much in like when I was decorating my house. There were things that I would come across, picture frames and art that I wanted to get immediately. And then I said, you know what? I'm just gonna wait. Do I really need this? And it turns out I didn't need it. I was either gifted stuff that people gave me or I could make my own art. And so it's just this idea of like everything you see that you want immediately, you don't need immediately. Now, of course, maybe there's some things that would actually benefit your life. The slippers that I got that I literally wear every single day in my house every single morning, those were a great investment. Absolutely amazing. I love them and they bring me like this little joy, right? But when you are constantly buying stuff and constantly trying to chase this like joy, it's so fleeting because you end up getting so much more than you need. And then your brain, I really think the amount of stuff you have in your space can really affect your brain and make you so much less clear minded in all the things. So, yeah, this Christmas, try to see if there's any boundaries that you can set. Now, maybe you're someone who like, doesn't have a whole lot of stuff that you want for Christmas. But when it comes to getting people gifts, you're getting people maybe unnecessary things. This is also something that, like, I have found I want to get my friends something, but they have a lot of stuff already. And I'm like, what do they truly need? And so maybe even like experiences, like getting them a gift card to their favorite restaurant or golf for like a date night for a couple or something like that, like something that they can do. Or even something that you can make. I feel like this idea of you always need to buy something for someone, you can also just make something. You could, if you're good at baking, you could make something like that. There's like a whole bunch of different options, a whole bunch of different lists. A friend recently just gave me this peppermint chocolate syrup to like put in your coffee, your lattes. And it was the best little thing ever. Like it was just such a sweet thought, you know? And I think that's where we've kind of like gone away from this idea. I think social media definitely had a part to play in getting your friends and getting people these extravagant like $500 $600 gifts, these gift bags or whatever, this makeup set. And I feel like it's made people who aren't getting things for free want to copy what they see on social media doing. This is something where it's like I want to tread lightly here and not stepping on too many toes as well, because I know that it can also be very sweet to give your friend something. And if you have the means to do that, that's great. But when it comes to then other people seeing that and feeling like they have to do that, I think there needs to be this level of like maturity to know that they are not, that not everyone is supposed to be able to spend that much on a singular gift. And sometimes the gift isn't even that great. Like it's just cheaply made and it's just the name of the brand that's costing it to be so much. So yeah, I can get very frustrated when I see how much money is spent on whether it's baby clothes where they're going to grow out of them in a certain amount of time, or things that you're only going to use for the Christmas season and then stuff in a box until the next year. And listen, like I've been there too. I have been there where I have consumed more than I needed, that I have gotten stuff that was overpriced, right? I will say that throughout my life, I've kind of like operated in this scarcity mindset. And so I have noticed that, like, when I was younger, my mom wanted to get me this toy, and she was getting my friend a toy as well, and I was like, "Mom, I don't need a toy, like, I have so many toys already." And we were at the store, and I was, like, literally arguing with my mom, telling her to not get me a toy because I already had so many. And so I think there's always been this level of, like, I've worried that I didn't deserve the thing, or I've worried that we wouldn't have enough money, which I don't know where I got that from, but I feel like I kind of operate in this like scarcity mindset. So I will put that as a caveat of I have not that is something that I struggle with. And so I can also be on the opposite side of like I really need a garlic mincer, like it would really make my life easier, but I won't buy it for like I won't buy it because I'm like, oh, well, I can just like chop it on, the cutting board. And then Christopher finally has to buy me the garlic mincer because I literally won't buy this $10 thing myself. So it can get overboard, but I think I've just seen how much things cost throughout the years. And I've just always had this eye of like, why are we spending so much money constantly and constantly? So I have two perspectives that I can see things from. Sometimes I can go a little bit overboard with having this scarcity mindset and kind of fearing like I'm not going to have enough. And so that's something that I'm working on. And I'm like, that's something that I feel like you can work on by giving more. So that's something that like I'm in a season where I'm trying to give more to my friends, to people I don't know, out of this surrender to the Lord of saying like, Lord, I may be worried about my finances, even though like I budget well, I save well. Please help me to not be worried so that I can give freely, not so that I can consume. Because again, I have what I need right now. Like, yeah, there's some things that I'd love. Like, I'd really love a pancake griddle. I'd also like um a tortilla press, like that'd be nice. But then again, I can just take a plate and push down my tortillas with the plate or like roll them out. And I don't need a pancake griddle right now. Like I have things that ideally in the future, maybe one day would be nice to have, but I don't need it now. And so it's this idea of like just being content with what you have. Even though there may be some things you want, but just understanding, like, okay, I can cook my pancakes on the pan. It's fine. Like, at least I have pancakes and just like naming the things that you're grateful for. I feel like that's so important, especially during this season when there's so many things just pushed in your face of what you need. Now I feel like even if we do simplify everything, going back to the whole thing that I talked about earlier, many of us may still struggle to find joy. So I kind of attributed this lack of joy to feeling like you have to have all these things and not being content and comparing your life to other people. But it can also be true that even if you simplify everything and you don't need stuff and you accept that, you can still struggle to feel joy. When I think back when I was going through my breakup, I was going through my breakup during the Christmas season. That was pretty depressing, right? Everyone's telling me to be happy, to watch happy romance Christmas movies, and I'm like sulking and like sad. However, I will say that joy and sorrow can definitely coexist. And I think I did a whole episode on this about a year ago about like your joy doesn't depend on your circumstances. And yes, there are some circumstances that definitely make it easier to have joy. When I'm sitting on the beach with a little apple crisp soda, the Olipop ones, those are so good. And there's a nice little breeze and it's sunny and I'm reading my book. I am so joyful. Like in those circumstances, it's so easy to be happy. But when I am having an argument with Christopher, or when I'm in pain because I have really excruciating back pain that day, it's really hard to be joyful. And it's not always easy, but I will say that it definitely can coexist. There have been days where I struggle, I have Lyme disease. And so I struggle with joint pain in my body. And so there's days where I can be really in pain, but then it's like I have to change my perspective to be like, okay, what if this is an opportunity to show that I don't need to show that I can still be grateful for what I have. I can be grateful that I can walk, that I can move. Even though I'm in pain, I can still get up. I'm not laying in a bed and like just chained there and stuck there, you know? And so I think it's just this idea of like just trying to find something small that you're grateful for. And having like, I feel like joy is a way of perceiving the world. You can perceive the world through, of course, rose colored glasses and view everything as like toxic positivity. But you can also view things as, okay, you know what? Yes, I just crashed my car, but at least I am all right. I survived. My friend is okay. Like, no one is hurt. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, there's this girl that I just came across on social media and she got in a car accident, or maybe she got ran over by a car and she had to get her legs removed. And this girl was just so happy, like so grateful that she was alive and so grateful that God gave her another day and now this amazing story to share. And all in her comments were people saying, like, you're okay to be sad, you're okay to be upset. And everyone was getting upset at her for being grateful. And it was just so sad to see that people can just be so negative that they want other people to be upset. And I get it. I think negativity feeds off of each other. But it's just sad. It's very upsetting. And so anyway, I think the whole point of me trying to say whatever I'm trying to say here is that you can feel joy. You can feel joy even in the midst of chaos because you can rely on the Lord and you can look at the things that you are grateful for. And I think He can give you peace. So maybe just making a focus more on like spending time with Jesus during this Christmas season. If you're stressed because of all the gifts you have to buy, try to put like boundaries in place, try to schedule out your time better, try to ask the Lord if there's anything that you need to remove from your life. Say no to some events, maybe, to give this space to make time for Him. Um, but with all that being said, I hope you were able to take something away from this. I hope you're able to understand that I was not trying to judge anyone for buying things. My whole point is just to say, do we really need the things that we're buying? Do we really need to buy every single thing this person is promoting on social media? Again, I share things that I find useful on social media. It doesn't mean that you have to buy it. If you find it useful in your life, great. But again, we have to be discerning. We have to understand that not everything that pops up is something that we need. Of course, the Christmas time profits so much money off of us wanting to just overconsume. But you know what? We can make a change in that. And so, anyway, all in all, I hope you're able to gain something from this podcast. And if you were, make sure to like it, make sure to follow for more. I'm here every Friday. We talk about all things, again, relationships, mental health, spiritual health, just how to create a healthy lifestyle centered on the Lord. But until next time, I hope we can keep creating a life we love together. All right, bye bye.